is Tamara from MidPointe Trenton again. I am here for MidPointe Maker. Today I'm going to show you how to make this really cool plastic bottle bird feeder. So you can hang this up in your tree. This is just made with any kind of plastic bottle, and I'll show you how to make this, and you can keep your birds happy through the winter. And we will get ready to make this. I'll show you what you need here. You need either a glue gun or E6000 glue. I am using the E6000 glue because we're going to put this outside here at the library in the trees by the children's room and see how many birds we attract. So I want to make sure I use this heavy duty glue so the plate stays there. We need an X-Acto knife. Again, if you don't like sharp things or you need some supervision, don't be afraid to ask somebody to help you with the X-Acto knife. And then we need a plate. You can get an old plate, or I picked this one up at the dollar store for $1. I'm using the E6000 glue also because this is a heavier plate and I'm afraid the glue gun might not hold up as well. And then you need a bottle. For the one I made that I just showed you, I used a Gatorade bottle. This is just your regular 16.9 ounce Coca-Cola bottle. And you want to go for something that's going to be able to glue. So if you see the Coke bottle has some good ridges on the bottom, that we should be able to glue right here. And you need some string. You'll need about 2 to 3 inches of string. So what I'm going to do is just take my ruler like this. You don't have to be exact, but I'm going to take my ruler. This is a 12-inch ruler. I'm going to run it around there twice. So there's 24 inches. There's about 36 inches. So I'm going to cut that off because we're going to hang this from a tree. So we're going to cut that off. So there's your string. And you, of course, are going to need some bird seed. Now I would wait and put the bird seed in it when you get it outside, just because you know bird seed will fall out and make a mess. And that way, if you drop some on the ground, the birds will find it. So it's a win-win. You don't waste any bird seed. So let's get started here. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to use our X-Acto knife. We are going to cut 3 little small rectangles around your bottle. So again, it's going to depend on the size of your bottle. You could use a 2 liter and have a really big bird seed if you have a larger plate. But what I'm going to do is go for some little triangles here. If you are using a drink bottle like a Gatorade or a pop bottle, please make sure you rinse it out. We don't want to leave any of that in there for our feathered friends. So what I'm going to do is cut a rectangle here, and it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to go right above the base because you don't want it too low to where your base is going to fall off. So the Coke bottle's got a nice little spot here, so I'm going to go for cutting around that. So just be careful with the X-Acto knife. So I am going, since this is a smaller bottle, I am going to, and your rectangle does not have to be a perfect rectangle. So this is a smaller bottle, so you can't really see it very well, but if you look and see, my finger fits in there, so it's about enough for my finger to fit in, so your bird seed's going to come out. I do have a little piece I want to fix here because I don't want it to be anything that our birds can get hurt on. And I have not tested this yet to know how squirrel proof it is. And so we've got one hole here, so I'm going to go over here and make another hole. So the good thing about the Coke bottle is I have this nice ridge. So I have this nice ridge here to make my hole. And then if you get a piece of plastic in there, just pull it out. So you can see my holes aren't exact, but they're going to be good enough to get the bird feed. So I need like one more hole, so I'm going to go about over here because that looks like that'll give us a nice spot for our birds to find some food. And another thing you can do for your birds, especially as we get to winter, is make sure you put some fresh water out for them. So we want to make sure that our birds find some food. Now the birds have been lucky the last couple winters because we haven't had a bad winter. So they haven't had a real harsh winter. But if you have a bad winter, you want to make sure the birds can find their food easy. And also it's kind of fun to watch the birds. And the library has plenty of bird identification guides. So if you want to become a backyard bird watcher, you can. So if you see, I have 3 holes. See where my fingers are? I've got 3 holes there. We got to make sure our jar is still serving. On the directions that this was adapted from, it said it was a 5-minute bird feeder. So it is, as you can see, a pretty quick project. So I'm going to set that aside. The next thing we're going to do is, again, we're going to use our X-Acto knife. We are going to cut 2 holes in our cap so we can loop this string through. Because this string is going to be really important because that's going to hold it to the tree. And it's also going to be able to be unscrewed so you can refill it with bird seed. So we're going to try to cut some holes in the cap. So this is a hard thing because you're dealing with some hard plastic here. So just take it easy. I kind of made a little triangle with my Gatorade bottle so that I made the example. So actually what I'm going to do too is use the scissors a little bit. To make my hole wider once I get it through the, I think that will work. So if you don't have an X-Acto knife, you can very carefully use the scissors. So as you can see, when I took the scissors through there, where I made the hole with the X-Acto knife, it kind of made it more circular. So the next thing we're going to do is take our string, and we're going to loop our string through these holes. I'm going to take the side that's got, this is like threading a needle, so if you've ever had to thread a needle, it can be a trial and error process. We're going to thread it through because we're going to make this to hang. Your bottle cap's going to be your hook to hang it on your tree. So this is pretty sturdy twine. So we may only need to do this one once. The Gatorade bottle I did about 3 times, but I think this will hold with one. So what your general idea is you're going to want to thread it so your bottle cap looks something like that. I am going to tie it off the top just to give it a little extra position there. And you can use any kind of twine, any kind of heavy duty. It just depends on what kind of tree you want to hang it on. So I'm going to tie it at the top here just to give it a little extra security. So you can see I knotted it on there, so that's going to hold this on. So then the next thing you're going to do, so you can also see that when you put your bird seed in, you've got your bottle that you can put your seed in. That's going to hang to your tree. It's nice and tight. Then the last thing we're going to do, like I said, you can use hot glue or you can use, I'm going to use the E6000 just because this is a little bit heavier duty glue and this is going to be outside. We hope to keep it outside the library all fall and all winter to see how it works. So I'm just kind of centering it on the thing. I'm going to coat, the good thing about the Coke bottle is that it has these ridges on the bottom, so I'm going to try to get those covered with glue real good. E6000 is a repositional glue, so if you don't get it exactly where you want it, you can move it around. That also means that E6000, we're not going to go out and be able to put this right on a tree and fill it with bird seed. We are going to let it sit. E6000 is best when you let it sit at least 8 hours. I would leave it overnight. So we're going to glue our bottle to the bottom of our plate, and you can see how I could move it around a little bit. I think it looks pretty centered. So we will have, so you don't want to pull it yet because it needs to get stuck down there. And we're going to put our bottle lid there. We'll fill it with birdseed, hang it from the tree, and you'll be able to come to MidPointe Trenton and hopefully pay it a visit and see how the birds are doing and if they're enjoying their food. So we will have it on a tree outside the children's room. And that's it for today's MidPointe Maker. I want to thank you for joining me again. Remember to like us on Facebook and Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel for MidPointe Library System, and follow us on Twitter. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again for another MidPointe Maker.